cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Merry Christmas, everybody. How are you doing? All right, just checking the sound. Very good. Welcome back to the program. Boy, my face does look red. Just came out of the shower, making sure I was spiffy for this broadcast. Merry Christmas to everyone. Gezegende Kerstfeest, Frohe Weihnachten, and all the other languages. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Thank you all so much for being here. For those of you who have no one around, thank you for joining us. Really do appreciate you being here. And for everyone who's got family around, who's taking the time out to join us for today's broadcast, thank you so very much. After this broadcast, I'll be on Wednesdays with the Colonel for an hour with Ronaldo, so we'll transfer over to that, hence the early start on Christmas Day. It's 4 p.m. in South Africa, 3 p.m. in Germany, and it is 2 p.m.? No, that's not right. I got it backwards. 5 p.m. in South Africa, 5 p.m. in South Africa, 4 p.m. in Germany, and 3 p.m. in the United Kingdom. Thank you to everybody. Merry Christmas. For our friends of the Jewish faith, Happy Hanukkah, which starts today, December 25th this evening. It's only the fifth time in a century that has occurred because the Jewish calendar is different than our calendar. So, welcome to Dylan. Dylan, Merry Christmas to you. And Gerhard Steenkamp, Merry Christmas to you as well. Tony Nage in from the Oil Sands, Merry Christmas. Ants, Merry Christmas. Sue Walsh says, congratulations, another milestone. May your new year be filled with happiness, good health, and fortune. Thanks for your wonderful day reports. You're very welcome, Sue. Sometimes it becomes a little frustrating whether to just keep doing it or not. You know, it doesn't seem like we get much traction. But the heartwarming comments I get from people, and you know, when I travel, and so many people I meet who actually know who I am, but never actually identify themselves on my chat or join the conversation. So just a second, my sister is on the phone. She's calling to wish me a happy birthday. Hello, how are you, B? Merry Christmas.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm live on my broadcast right now, so I just let people know that my sister was calling to wish me a Merry Christmas and a happy birthday. Well, thank you. You do know that, like, when I turn 29, I'm turning 59 again this year for the next 11 years, just so you know that.
59 for the next 11 years. Well, that can't happen because I'm catching up with you then.
Yeah, my sister says she's catching up with me. Don't be in a rush there, my dear. Don't be in a rush. Anyway, well, Merry Christmas to you guys on that end as well, okay? Thank you. I got to get back to my show. All right, bye. That was my sister, Beatrice. So thank you so much for that. All right, B, thank you. Merry Christmas to you and your kids, your grandkids. Yeah, that's right. You're a granny. Couldn't help but dig that one in there. Anyway, yeah, so lots of memberships just coming. I don't have a chance to salute all these, so I'll apologize for that. They were gift memberships, I believe. But I want to say this. So many people have written to me. WhatsApps, emails. I've gotten cards in the mail from people. I didn't send cards this year. I've just been so out of it and so busy doing things. I really gotten out of the habit of sending Christmas cards some time ago. So for those of you who go through the trouble to send Christmas cards still, thank you so much. It's a very touching and very warm thing. And I really do appreciate the cards that I've received. Courtney, I did not receive your card. I'm so sorry. That's maybe because you mailed it to the old address and your postal comrades are unwilling to forward my mail. Only 2 items have been forwarded, and that's nonsense. There's no way I only have 2 pieces of mail coming in the last 30 days, so I'm kind of irritated about that. But I'm sorry I missed your card, Courtney. Maybe it'll come later. Okay, let me get to the chat, back to it. But before I do that, I want to say that I've not been able to respond to everybody. I will spend a good part of my Christmas day sending Christmas greetings to everybody. Also this year, I haven't done what I've been doing for the past few years because the last year it kind of tapered off, and the year before it was kind of getting kind of lame. I invited celebrities to come on and join us. Wow, lots of memberships being handed out here. I invited celebrities to come on. Only a handful of them came on, but it was still nice. And Dr. Peter Hammond has come on every year, but I haven't sent a Christmas greeting to Dr. Hammond, even asked him to join us. So my apologies for that to Dr. Hammond, because he comes on and he shares the lovely narration of the Christmas armistice and shares his thoughts about Christmas. He's a man of deep faith, Dr. Peter Hammond, a really good human being. and I have not had a chance to invite him on. I've just because I only have email with him. I can't send him a WhatsApp and say, hey, it's a lot quicker to have a WhatsApp. But many people sent me greetings, and many people I've not responded to yet. It's not because I'm not grateful for your greetings. It's not because I'm ignoring your greetings, even if I've opened them and read them. It's because there's just so many that I'm trying to respond to all of them, and I'm doing my best to do it individually. That's why I generated those Christmas images I made to try to make a few of them to send to people. So thank you for your patience, your understanding. Those of you who will allow me to greet you as quickly as I can. It keeps me busy today. So, Sue, thank you. George Steinberg, happy Christmas to all of you and blessed birthday. Chris, thanks for your effort you put in every broadcast. Much appreciated. Van en lekker not Heckport. Okay, George, thank you for that. Monray Siebert's in from Cape Town. Thank you for being here. Teresa, Merry Christmas to you. John Moosline, Merry Christmas to you in the Gauteng area. Teresa, welcome. Merry Christmas. Crypto Noob, good to see you back. Merry Christmas, Freelance Kate. Arctic is here. Apparently he's not flying today. Merry Christmas to you and your family, Arctic. Where's my Druvos? Richard Kuhn, Merry Christmas and happy birthday. And a wet and chilly in Joburg. Okay. Thank you, John. Janet Liddy, Merry Christmas to you in South Carolina, the Palmetto State. That's nice to see you there. Martin Metz, welcome back, and Merry Christmas to you as well. And Dan Bailey's in from Wyoming. Dan, Merry Christmas to you and your family. And to your dad, say hello to your dad for me. Second hour, I will be doing a call-in session. I'll put the link up as we get closer. I don't want to put up now because if I put up now, people will just call in now and be waiting. Like, hey, where are we at? So at the top of the next hour, I'll be doing a call-in session. If you want to call in and say Merry Christmas to everyone or share a story of Christmas, as long as it's not too long, and then we'll move on to Ronaldo. Wednesdays with Colonel David Chandler, Merry Christmas to you. Keith Alderson, Merry Christmas up there in Coventry. Angelo Agrizi, have a blessed Christmas. Thank you so much, Angelo. Salve. And Rose Wheeler's back. Rose, Merry Christmas to you. Hendo, there he is. Hendo's got all kinds of things going. He's got Santa Claus, a Christmas tree, thumbs up, U.S., South Africa, Britain flag, Euro flag. You're getting carried away there. Bernard says, can't stay, but wanted to wish me a happy birthday. Thank you so much for that, Chris Marie. Tony Nage up there again. Ashley Engelbrecht, welcome, Ashley. Merry Christmas to you. And here come some super chats, a handful of super chats. I put a goal up of 30. That was probably over ambitious, 30 super chats. But we've got all kinds of things popping up now. So Leovan, 59 plus 1, happy birthday. May it be an awesome year ahead. Thank you for everything you do for us. Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Leovan. Thank you so much for that. We all had the Van Rensburgs. We had Leovan van Rensburg, Bram van Jensburg, Chris van Rensburg. We were having fun with that. Jansa van Rensburg a few years ago. And then Teresa's here. Welcome, Merry Christmas. Arctic says, happy birthday. Thanks for the time. So Leovan gave 600 Rand super chat. Thank you so much for that. Arctic gives a 999.99 Rand super chat. That's 1,000. Happy birthday, Chris. Thanks for the time and effort you put in for us. May you be blessed, young man. Well, thank you. Very kind of you. That's an awesome super chat. Hendo. Boy, Hendo broke the bank. Look at it, 20 pounds, man. Hendo, happy birthday, Colonel Chris Wyatt. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you for the 20 pounds, Hendo. Appreciate that. Cool beans. Cool beans. Very kind of you. Let's see where we got to go from there. Neville's here. Neville, welcome back. Merry Christmas and to you and to your mom. I hope she's doing well today. And then Dylan, sound is 5x5. Thank you for that, Dylan. And Tony Nage gifted 20 memberships. That's why so many came through. Tony, thank you for that. The Scientist got one. Defender Def got one. Usina. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen Usina in donkey years. Dirty Sanchez, Christian Bunzire, Arbot, Bobby B, Diaz, Neil, Jason Love, Johnny Smith, Sam Watt. Then we got Hey Freelance Kate, Merry Christmas to you. Michael Harrison, Gareth, Karen, Lucian, Pfeffer, King Pooba, Buzz Lightyear. Hey, Buzz Lightyear's here. Fire Dragon, Occasional Art and Buffoonery. That's pretty good. And that, and then also Camelo Mabote, welcome to you as well. Ronaldo gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you, Ronaldo, for that super chat. You know, you can see Ronaldo is suffering in the unemployment line, salty cracks. It's just a tiny super chat from Ronaldo. You know, he's an incredibly wealthy man from all his time in government. You know how those government employees are with those tenders. Thank you for the super chat, Ronaldo. Shawnee Grows, welcome back, Shawnee. Merry Christmas in Minnesota. Hey, how's it going up there in Minnesota? Having some lutefisk on Christmas? Are you having now? I'm telling you, the little fella, he was just a really nice guy, you know. He was talking to my uncle, come from Norwich. You know, he's from Norwich, and no, was having a good time. We're talking about Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, you know. You've been there. I've been there to Twin Cities. That's the big city, Minneapolis, St. Paul in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota for sure. Hey, Shawnee, how you doing? George Steinberg with a super chat in from Heckport. George, 375 Rand. Thank you for that, brother. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you. Oh, Freelance Kate is saying hello to Ronaldo. And then what else we got here? We got DeBaron. Welcome, Baron. Welcome, George. Good to see you there again. Tony Nage, I've said hello to. And Arbot says thanks for the membership to Tony. Savage Daughter. It's okay, Savage Daughter. We're all late. I was a couple minutes late because, once again, I've got to write to them. Streamlabs OBS crashed on me to start the program again. I had to get it all set up again. And here comes another super chat. I'll get to that in just a moment. All right. You can tell it's been a tough year. The super chats are a lot lower on this Christmas holiday than they have been in the past so far. Savage Darter, welcome to you. Leah Minar. Leah, Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you had a lovely Christmas meal today. Arctic says, I'm getting old, so I'll forget things. What did I forget? Reno Razor says, happy birthday, 6-year-old. Get your school clothes ready. Thank you very much for that, Reno. Yeah, 6-year-old. I divide by 10. It's good math. Arbot, thanks you for the happy birthday. Tom Smith, good morning to you, and happy, I hope you have Biltong. Biltong would be great, but so would Druvos. Thank you for that, Tom Smith. And Chris Marie gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you, Chris Marie. What a dedicated viewer and supporter. Chris Marie, like Eric and Hendo and Debbie and so many others, has been an integral part of what we do. Chris Marie has set up tours of Gray College for me, helped with accommodation in Bloemfontein, set up a meet and greet for me in Bloemfontein, showed up at the Sterkfontein Caves with me, went to a rugby game. She's just a very helpful person. I think only Garrett and Coquetzo have been to more meet and greets than she has. Garrett and Coquetzo competing for that #1 spot on the most meet and greets they've gone to. Defender Def says thanks. Okay. Carolyn says, Merry Christmas. You look great as Christmas, Father. Happy birthday to many more. Hermanus, Western Cape. Nice warm weather today. Perfect beach weather. All right, Carolyn. Yeah, but those damn whales never show up when I'm there. I see like one whale. I've been to Hermanus half a dozen times. I said, one frickin' whale. It's getting old, man. Doesn't matter when I come there. Little bastards who are hiding on me. One whale. I set my camera up. I sit there and I wait. One whale. And all I saw was the fin going back under. Anyway, it's like they know I'm coming. Okay. What else we got here? Debbie Imore. Debbie gave us 350 Rand super chat. Thank you for that, Debbie. It's very kind of you. I appreciate that. If anybody wants to not let YouTube get their chunk, let me just get here's the PayPal if you want to do a PayPal. Merry Christmas to you, Debbie, and to your family. They don't talk like that in Minnesota. You need to go 20 minutes north. Things get all weird. Oh, they do talk like that in Minnesota, Arctic. Absolutely, for sure. My neighbors in Iowa. Yeah, hey, I'm telling you, my neighbors in Iowa, they came from Minnesota. They lived in Iowa for like 20 years. And, they had a funny bit of an accent, not quite as bad as this, but it was an accent. And one day I said, where are you from in Minnesota? And they're like, hey, how'd you know we're from Minnesota? I said, well, because you were talking, people from Minnesota, it's pretty obvious where they come from. That's what I'm saying. Pretty obvious. Yes, they do talk like that in Minnesota, Arctic. Just depends where you go, man. You got to go to Brainerd. Yeah, Shawnee says it's all them North Dakota folk. Yeah, all 6 of the people in North Dakota. Hakan Engman is in from the Netherlands. Ho, 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 to you. And Neville says, I hear our Zamazamas had a variety luncheon today. Good Lord. The ones that are still underground. And then Janet Liddy just gave a $50 super chat. Oh, my goodness. Oh, sweet lordy. Sweet lordy. Pumpkin spice pie. Welcome there. Thank you, Janet. $50 super chat. Ooh. Thank you, Janet. You guys humble me. Really do appreciate that. You come at the wrong time. We had a lot of whales this year. I know, Caroline. I know. I came at the wrong. It doesn't matter what time of the year I come, though. Those whales know Chris is in town. Don't surface. They all go around the bend to come up for oxygen. No, it's not a Canadian. No, the Canadians sound a bit different, Up there in the Great White North, the Canadians, they be talking about things. I tell you, go to Canada, it's like I was once a guest on the Red Green Show, and they taught me how to fix things. No, I was up there at the Possum Lodge. Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Yeah, the fellas up there. Canada, we were talking about things about those Americans. I'm telling you, those Americans, they come up here to Canada. They think they own the place. I think they do. They got so much money. We got no money up here in Canada. No, it's just the maple syrup and the First Nations, and we got nothing else. A couple Mounties. I hear there's a bit of diamonds up in the Northwest Territories, but I'm not sure if they wound up in Nunavut or not. I'm just saying it because I don't know much about that. Anyway, there's your Canada version. Oh my goodness. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We have a small audience. People must be distracted or busy for Christmas Day. I saw that Ronaldo was here. I don't know if he's sticking around. Let me go ahead and just set that up because I didn't set this stream up until this morning. It just goes right along with how it's been kind of a odd Christmas here. I'm going to talk about Christmas and how folks are not really doing the Christmassy thing in the Western world. The Western world is abandoning its heritage and its faith, and it's really, really sad. All right, here we go. All right, now we'll be redirected to Wednesdays with the Colonel. All right, does the Minnesota accent come with any type of impairment? Come on. Yeah, you should talk. They got those. You got those Netherlands accents too. You want to talk about funny accents? Merry Christmas to my never met sisters in South Africa, Ella, Aiko, Caitlin. Oh my goodness, Tony, what's going on there? What's going on there? All right, well. We just lost 4 people while I did that. I said I'm going to go to Ronaldo and 4 people left. What the hell? I will summon them next time you are here again. Oh, the whales. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, we got 8 of the 30 super chats in our goal to achieve super chats in this hour. Thank you for that, folks. Merry Christmas. Yeah, no Advents calendar. That's over. We've gone through the days leading up to Christmas. It is Christmas Day. Much of the Western world is abandoning its faith and embracing Islam. To the detriment of their indigenous populations. Yep. Even here, places like the Vienna waterfront don't celebrate Christmas. Yeah, I know what you're saying there, Freelance Kate. It's an intentional effort by secular leftists to undermine the Christian faith, which is the fastest growing faith on the planet. But its fastest expansionary is not in Europe. It's not in the Americas. It's in Africa. That's where it's growing the most, and Asia. But Africa comes first, then comes Asia. And we're going to see some photographs of Christmas around the world here shortly. Khan says, I'm interested in Minnesota since I come from Scandinavia. Yeah, no, there's lots of Scandinavians that settled in Wisconsin, in Minnesota, North and South Dakota. Lots of Scandinavians, Norwegians, Swedes, and lots of Germans up there. Germans aren't Scandinavian, but they're cousins. So let's go ahead and get to some of the news stuff. First off, Christmas greetings from politicians in South Africa. We'll start with the ANC because I know you're desperate to hear that. You're just dying to hear what the ANC's Christmas greetings are. So let's go ahead and get to some of these Christmas greetings. We're going to hear about Black Christmas too. Isn't that exciting? Here we go. So.
To all our members, supporters, and all South Africans, the ANC wishes you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. During this time of the festive season, let us reflect on our struggle for total equality in South Africa, our pursuit of freedom, as well as all the values that are enshrined in our Constitution. Join us in January in the Western Cape. The ANC will celebrate 113 years of its existence, and also where the President will deliver the program of action for the year 2025. See you there.
No, sweetheart, you won't see me there. You won't see me there. First off, your images of the ANC are completely false. I saw no Indian faces. I saw no color faces. I saw no white faces. You've completely whitewashed the ANC. I love how you talk about your complete freedom and independence, which you've had for over 30 years, and you claim that you're there for all South Africans. You're not. It's pretty obvious from your imagery. You culture appropriate my German heritage Christmas tree with black South Africans and then completely whitewash South Africans out of the picture who are also South Africans. No Khoi, no San, no whites, no coloreds, no Indians, just black folks. You can enjoy your 113th celebration in Kailicha with the all of 2,000 people if you can fill that stadium. Merry Christmas to the comrades, but no thank you. Here is a Christmas message from John Steenhuisen, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, Minister for Agriculture in South Africa. Let's see what he's got to say.
The Democratic Alliance, I'd like to wish all Christian South Africans a very Merry Christmas. Christmas is a day of rebirth and renewal. It is a day of hope, selflessness, kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. It is a day of giving with family, friends, and loved ones. As we gather and celebrate, let us also take the time to reflect on and be appreciative of our many blessings: a nutritious meal, a roof over our heads, company, and a warm bed. At the same time, let us be mindful of those who have less than us. In the spirit of Christmas and selflessness, let us commit to helping whenever we can. For any of us traveling during this period, please take care and ensure that at all times you abide by the rules of the road to ensure not only your safety, but also the safety of all others. May this day and those ahead be filled with love, laughter, joy and prosperity for all. Merry Christmas, South Africa.
Well, Merry Christmas from Democratic Alliance. That's actually a pretty good message. Thank you for that, John Steenhuisen. Appreciate that. Next is Action SA and Herman Mashaba. I know you're all dying to hear from Herman Mashaba, so let's just go ahead and get Herman Mashaba up here.
My message to fellow Christians and those of you who celebrate this important day of the birth of Christ is to please take this time to reflect.
Oh, I just realized that the sound isn't on. My goodness, sorry. Wow, you guys probably couldn't hear that. Wow. Did you even hear that? My apologies. Wow, that's messed up.
My message to first and hope that you enjoy the day with your family and all your loved ones. May this be a truly joyous festive period for all.
Well, that's from Action SA and Herman Mashaba. I apologize if you didn't hear the ANC or the DA one. They were both good. This is from the African Transformation Movement. So let's see what they've got to say. It's a happy Black Christmas is what the message says, but let's hear what he has to say. Oh, sorry, I keep clearing my throat there. So,
fellow South Africans, this day marks the first Christmas in the first 209 days of uncharted territories of the unity government of South Africa, as mandated by the people of this country on May 29th, 2024. We're celebrating our first Christmas under the new order, hoping that the love for the country will supersede everything and drive us all towards true and total emancipation of our masses who still find themselves in the outskirts of participation during the season of abundance. It is with heavy hearts that we acknowledge the cloud that hangs over our celebrations. 8.4 million of our labor force is unemployed. Surely the festive spirit is often overshadowed by stress and sorrow, exacerbated by an additional 3.2 million who have since ceased seeking work, while our expanded definition on unemployment reveals a disheartening truth that over 18 million of our fellow citizens struggle to place a decent meal on the table during this Christmas season. 200,000 are homeless as we speak, deprived of warmth, love, and the dignity that is the hallmark of our heart and democracy. This Christmas, their plight reminds us of many who are still struggling. This is why today, as the African Transformation Movement, we implore you that onesonka makaqhekezele omnye. Today, let us embark on a program of goodwill and sharing what we have with those in need. There is enough for all of us if we can embrace the spirit of selflessness and sacrifice for the greater good. Our ultimate goal is to establish a government that ensures that every man, woman, and child has an opportunity to work and thrive without the need for assistance during such times as these. Let us care for one another. Let us give to the destitute and needy. Sharing is caring, and selflessness will be the foundation upon we build our country. Love will empower us to conquer all challenges before us. True knowledge will pave the way for genuine emancipation, and in our willingness to die to self, we will resurrect a prosperous society. To those entrusted with the responsibility to lead, know that true leadership requires wearing a crown of thorns, carrying a cross, and making sacrifices for the masses. Only then we can rise in an environment where abundance, health, and prosperity flourish, where all stand equal before the law, and where the government of inclusivity and integrity reigns. As we celebrate this Christmas, let us rekindle the spirit of unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can overcome the trials we face, and together, we can build a brighter future for all South Africans. Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones.
It's not bad. It's mostly a good message there. A little bit surprised to hear that from the African Transformation Movement, party I don't have much use for, but that's a pretty good, mostly good message there. And so this final Christmas message from South African politicians comes from Dr. Peter Groenewald, the leader of the Freedom Front Plus and a member of the Government of National Unity as the Minister for Correctional Services. So Dr. Groenewald.
We are now at the eve of Christmas. And at the eve of Christmas, we can look back at the year that was. But 2024 was a challenging year, not only in politics, but I do believe in each and every individual's life. Some experienced a lot of challenges, a lot of sadness. Maybe you have lost a loved one in this year. Others may have lost their work or their jobs. But we know that at the eve of Christmas, we know that our Heavenly Father loves us so much that He sent His own Son to be crucified for our sins. And that's where our hope lies. Hope for the future. And if we think back at 2024, in those times when it was hard to survive, where the challenges were so enormous that we wondered whether we will survive, we know that it was our Heavenly Father who took our hand and led us through all those times, whether it was good times or bad times. So on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I want to wish you and your loved ones a very Merry Christmas, and may you receive the blessings from our Heavenly Father. When it comes to the year of 2025, I also want to say that for the future of 2025, we started the change in 2024 on the political field. It is not only one political party who is governing on its own. It's a government of national unity. That in itself brings change for the future. We, as partners of the government of national unity, must work together to ensure that South Africa becomes a better place, that we can get the economy to grow, so that we can create jobs, because then we're becoming a winning nation in the end. Therefore, I also want to wish you and your loved ones, on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, a happy and prosperous 2025. Let us keep our hope in our Heavenly Father, because then we know it will be good times for each and every one and for South Africa.
Dr. Peter Groenewald from the Freedom Front Plus, and those were Christmas messages from the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, the African Transformation Movement, and from Dr. Groenewald. I saved the best for last. The DA message was pretty good. The ATM message was surprisingly good. The ANC message was simply pure political nonsense and promoting their garbage. But thank you to all the others. Well, folks, Christmas Cheer in Cape Town as a local foundation gives out gifts to kids. Yep. Smiles on the faces. There was Christmas cheer among many happy children in the Sea Winds area of Cape Town. Christmas lunch buffet was held in their honor, and they received gifts. More than 100 children and their families gathered for the joyful occasion. It's very much like our breakfast with Santa that we have here locally. Christmas came early for more than 100 underprivileged children and their families this week when the Michelle Davids Foundation hosted lunch and handed out gifts at the Seawards Community Center. For the past 5 years, the Michelle Davids Foundation has been organizing street parties for the children of Military Heights, Hillview, Seawinds, and Lavender Hill. Yep, the passion has always been to serve my community, and every year I get more and more excited about these kids, or these kinds of events for children and their families. Wow, that's a statement from one of the folks involved in this. Yeah, it's pretty cool to help folks out, especially, this time of year, but it's not the only time you should be helping. And I missed some chat over here. Let me get back to the chat, and I'll get back to those other things in a few moments. All right. Tony says, I found one sister through the gliding club in Namibia after a long search, a few emails, then Dad found out, and that was the end of that. I went, oh, wow. So your father didn't want you to know about them? Tony, that's crazy. They are no wealthy and less wealthy. They're only politicians in the board, says Neville. Okay. Is the ANC going to invite Action SA to the 113th anniversary? Probably. Wow. Pablo Chari, Merry Christmas to you. Shaq says, very happy birthday, and may you and your family be blessed for the year ahead. Thank you for your hard work in improving South Africa. Well, I'm certainly trying to clean up the discourse, end the nonsense, stop the race hustling, promote job growth, allow people to celebrate their faith and their cultural norms in peace and prosperity. So, boy, the super chats are dried up. They came early and then they dried up. I think 30 was way overshooting the mark for trying to set a goal for this today. So who else we got there? Thanks for sharing this message, Chris. Never knew they did this. Nice to see in here. Yeah, no, it's typical. Politicians will put that out there. There probably is a greeting from the EFF, but I don't cater to the EFF, so I didn't bother to look for that. Courtney, Merry Christmas. Wanted to stop by and say hello. I've got to get back to my family. We're about to open gifts. All right, Courtney. Well, I hope you get something nice. Did you get a pony this year? Chantel says, happy birthday. Happy Christmas. Wishing you all lots of peace and love. Okay, Ants is back. Gina Molman says, Merry Christmas. And community note attached, says Tony. Linda Scott, well said, Mr. Cherneval. The other party sound like election. Hey, Linda, how's it going? Are you out on the farm? You don't have to answer that question. But thanks for being here. Appreciate it. In about an hour and 19 minutes, we'll be joining Ronaldo on Wednesdays with the Colonel. So anyone want to join us over there, you're welcome to. You'll be automatically redirected from this broadcast. Tom Smith says, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I think he means Juju. Yep. And then Arbot's here again. Welcome, Arbot. What else? Kahneman says, you're bang on about the fact that Scandinavians and Germans are cousins. It's really apparent to me living in the Netherlands, since the Dutch are also cousins with, it's all the same family, Germanic language family. So I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Sedert, which, I look at that, and that's, this T-shirt I have on underneath this Christmas outfit. It says, South Africa is Sedert in 1652. That's pretty obvious for me from the context what it means, but also since I speak German, the word for German for since is Seit. S-E-I-T, which is very close to Sedert. So, it's very easy to figure out some of those things. Pronunciation is a whole different story. Samir Franciscus, have a blessed Christmas day. Thank you. I hope that, are you well? Are you in Tbilisi? Hopefully things are quiet there. Thank you for joining us, Samir. Samir is my friend from the World Cup. Samir, thanks so much. I know I've thanked you before, but it was really great linking up there. It was a lot of fun hanging out. We had such a great time. Val's back from Par. Went to see her sister. Oh, my goodness. Cardiac failure. My goodness, Val, I'm so sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers. Well, not all shops are closed. There'll be some things open here in the U.S. There always are some things. Ilmar Lottie is back. Welcome. Very good Christmas. The name throws me off because Lottie could be a Finnish name. Ilmar, it could be all kinds of different things. Had lunch with Ronaldo. Officially moved to Nelson Mandela Metro. Wow, Linda. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. You could take Ronaldo's house, He doesn't need it anymore. Just kidding. Check says, have a blessed day. What else? Afriforum is a treason. What's this? Good Lord. Okay. Afriforum is battling Bella, Pablo Charlie. Afriforum is battling it. The African Christian Democratic Movement is, ACDP is also, the party is also fighting it, and the Freedom Front Plus also fighting Bella. And Meerkat, welcome to you. Merry Christmas. All right. Well, the super chats are dried up. It's Salty Cracks Day from this point on. But thanks to everybody who donated so far. And for those who've tuned in, really appreciate you being here on Christmas. It's a huge sacrifice if you take yourself away from family. So I don't want to do that to anybody. We do this for those who maybe don't have folks around or looking to share some community with everyone. Pope? No, not Pope. Christmas. This is Santa Claus. This is Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Père Noël. Père Noël. All right. Forget the Pope. I have no use for that guy. Very little use for that Argentinian Pope. Bring back the German guy. He was much better. Well, Brockenfell takes a note from America and does the same thing Americans do and lights up the neighborhood. Look at this. A twinkle in time, Brockenfell shines bright. Bunte Huels Santa steals the show. For more than 20 years, Gelb Crescent residents in Brockenfell have decorated their homes with Christmas lights, creating a festive atmosphere, just like in America. The tradition brings the community together with events and socializing that strengthen neighborly bonds. Meanwhile, a house in Bontehoevel with a flashing Santa Claus on the entrance has neighbors and motorists stopping to take pictures and videos. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Nice American traditions. We get a little carried away with it. Lights everywhere. Inflatable things everywhere, sleighs. It's pretty cool. Tony says he's buffering. It's just you, Tony. It's just you. Your Canadian telecoms are letting you down, brother. No one else is buffering. I'm sorry to hear that. Just refresh or delay it and you'll catch up. Well, the African Christian Democratic Party is deeply disappointed in the Bella bill, and they've expressed that in the media. ACDP is considering its options after Ramaphosa announced the full implementation of this idiotic law. ACDP expressed disappointment that the act wasn't referred back to Parliament for a constitutional review. The party is skeptical about the feasibility of implementing universal grade R access given budget constraints. Well, as am I. As am I. So the ACDP is out trying to fight this battle. Seem to remember that the Pope being involved with all those missing Argentine children. I don't know about that. He's just an annoying guy. Neville will return shortly. Got to go take care of Mom. Is Erica here? I haven't seen Erica. Did I miss Erica? Greenland needs to be owned by the USA. Passengers are stuck in Nelson Mandela Bay waiting for their baggage because the plane was overladen. Do they not check? Does South African Airways not weigh the bags when people get on? How do you get a plane over the max weight? Were they throwing cargo in the bin? A trip to Geberg the day before Christmas turned into a nightmare for scores of South African Airways passengers who arrived at Chief David Stroman's International Airport only to discover that their luggage never left Joburg due to weight restrictions. South African Airways Flight 401 departed from OR Tambo at 6 o'clock and arrived at 7:30. However, when the jam-packed flight landed and passengers made their way to the carousel to collect their bags, several were left high and dry when their bags didn't arrive. Minutes later, an announcement on the intercom informed them that more than 80 bags had been offloaded before they departed because the plane's weight limit had been exceeded. Good Lordus. They told us the flags would arrive at 1 o'clock, so we left to do some Christmas shopping and came back at 4:30. They were still waiting for the bag. Staff told us different stories. First, the plane did not have enough fuel. Later, they said the flight was over its weight restriction. Eventually, they also said the flight was overcrowded. To make matters worse, Ms. Adams and her mother still need to travel to Port Alfred, about 2 hours away, to visit her grandparents. We should have been in Port Alfred this morning already. Instead, we've been at the airport for hours. I haven't seen my grandparents in a couple of years, and now I'm being delayed. I'm on cooking duty for early tomorrow morning and should have been sleeping now. Wow. South African Airways spokesman Vimla Mastri confirmed the flight was affected by weight restrictions. She said 87 bags offloaded and 60 were transported on the next flight. Really? So why weren't they there? Why weren't they there? Vilma Erasmus just gave a super chat of 35 Rand. Thank you for that super sticker there, Vilma, the number one. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so why weren't the bags there? Now they're saying that some of the bags only arrive on Christmas Day today. Wow. Terrible, 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 terrible. Denmark's biggest company is taking every day. What's this? No idea what publisher I was talking about there. Here it says, no, someone forgot to put up the roof rack. think you're right about that. Samir says, doing well, thanks. I'm still in Tbilisi. Yes, things are quieting down in terms of protest. Perhaps people occupied with festive season activities headed to the Orthodox Christmas. Yeah, that's true. Orthodox Christmas. Of course, Georgia is a heavily Christian state, but things have been crazy there of late. I'm glad to hear that you're okay. Samir, it's been crazy in Georgia. Right. Well, the folks that live on Mayotte, the French archipelago, are angry at illegal immigrants. Yeah, it's all over the world. It's not just xenophobes in South Africa or America. In the ruins left by Cyclone Chido, people from Mayotte off the eastern coast of Africa are calling to deport the undocumented immigrants who've settled there from neighboring islands. Here are immigrants from Comoros in a shantytown devastated by the cyclone. Why do people go to places like this and live in such squalor? Unbelievable. That you think that's a shocking photo. Look at this photograph of these shanty towns obliterated by a cyclone. Why are these people there denuding the countryside? Why are they in Mayotte? Why? Go home. Go home. Stop overpopulating the planet and ruining it. This is disgusting. A passenger plane in Azerbaijan crashes in Kazakhstan. Many on the flight died. Remarkably, a number of people survived, 27. An Embraer passenger plane flying from Azerbaijan to Russia crashed near the city of Aktu in Kazakhstan with 62 passengers and 5 crew on board. Kazakh authorities announced saying that 27 people had actually survived this brutal crash. It's insane. Unverified video of the crash showed the plane, which was operated by Azerbaijan Airlines, bursting into flames as it hit the ground and thick black smoke then rising. Bloodied and bruised passengers could be seen stumbling from a piece of the fuselage that had remained intact. Wow. Looking at different possible versions of what may have happened. Russian aviation watchdog said in a statement, preliminary information suggests the pilot decided to make an emergency landing after a bird strike. Wow. Pretty scary stuff and not a good Christmas. Rock Scales is upgraded in membership. Thank you for that, Rock Scales. Appreciate that. Yeah, it looks like control failure audit. Yeah, it sure does. In the shadow of war, Christians in Gaza are facing a somber Christmas. As Christmas arrives, the small Christian community in the Gaza Strip is again facing a season mired in war. Once a time marked by family gatherings, decorations, and liturgies, the holiday this year will be spent in makeshift shelters in partially destroyed churches standing amid the ruins of a war-torn enclave. For the roughly 700 Christians who remain in Gaza, almost half the number before October 7th terrorist attack, survival has become a daily challenge. So they're wiping out the Christians. Christmas around the world by the New York Times and not a single picture of the United States. It says Christmas in pictures, but no Americans. Here are Syrian Christians parading through the streets in Damascus, Christmas Day. Syrian Christians. Orthodox Christian worshiper at a mass in Sofia, Bulgaria. The woman does not look Bulgarian. She looks Central Asian. This is Pope Francis delivering his traditional Christmas speech from the main balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Here you have swimmers' Christmas Day race at the Peter Pan Cup in Hyde Park, London. If you've ever been in that water, it's disgusting water. I would never jump in that water. Christmas Mass at Notre Dame in Paris. The first Christmas Mass in the cathedral since the fire in 2019. Look at the throngs inside of Notre Dame. That's insane. There's a selfie at the St. Joseph Cathedral in northern India, in Uttar Pradesh, Christians in India. Here are Christians at an African religious movement in Nairobi. Iraqi Christians gather around a fire as they attend Mass on Christmas Eve at the Grand Immaculate Church of Hamdiyana. Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem greeted a person dressed as Santa Claus during Christmas Eve procession in the West Bank. Syrian Christians protest in defense of the rights of Christians on Christmas Eve after a Christmas tree was set ablaze in the Christian majority town. Ukrainian soldiers, the 117th Separate Heavy Mechanized Brigade, prayed during a Christmas dinner in the Donetsk region. Motorcycle riders stopped to photograph an inflatable Santa Claus by a street corner in Havana, Cuba. Tzotzil indigenous people held candles as part of an ancestral celebration of Christmas in southern Mexico. A woman and man dressed as Mary and Joseph reenact the nativity scene at the St. Autan Church in Istanbul, once the heart of Christianity. Ukrainian children in folk attire ate traditional donuts at Christmas parade. A surfer dressed as Santa took the waves in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Okay, there's an American picture. There's one. And in Kuala Lumpur, foam played part of Christmas Eve celebrations. A Palestinian man fixed the lights of the Church of the Nativity in the city of Bethlehem. And people danced at a Christmas celebration organized by a community in Buenos Aires. Cuts of meat displayed for customers during the annual Christmas meat auction at Smithfield Market in London, which is going to go out of business after 900 years. And there you have the New York Times sharing Christmas photographs from around the world. Not a single photograph of Germany, Norway, the Netherlands, and one of the United States, some dude on a surfboard. Hardly a Christmas celebration. During the genocide, there have been 6,000 babies. Pretty impressive when the population actually increases during genocide. Hey, good point, Charles Van Olsland. That's a good point. It's a very good point. The glue vines for later on. I'm not drinking it on camera. It's too high alcohol content. I'll get liquored up. All right. Enjoy the quality time today and celebrating the miracle of life. We'll join in later. So thank you for that, Debbie. Rock Scales, thank you for upgrading your membership. And we got that 9th super chat, but we're stuck. We're not going to make 30. No way. Well, Christmas at the Grand Canyon, something different here in America. Celebrating Christmas at the Grand Canyon. Hundreds experience a special meaning of the holiday at an annual candlelight service. For the past 40 years, the church held a candlelight service on the night before Christmas, and each time the pastor gives a sermon that best suits the occasion. This year's sermon was Christmas in a Bag. Inside the bag were candy, fudge, sugar cookies, and a bright red and white Santa cap. So they celebrate Christmas at the Grand Canyon, carved out over millions of years. Wow. Well, here's a little game. We're going to have a little fun here for a few moments. Can you spot the living trees, okay? All right, there's 50 living trees. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but let me see how many we can hit very quickly here, so I'll show you this. This is from the Washington Post. A little bit of fun here. All right, so there are living trees in this picture. I'm going to start. Let me see how many we can get. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I miss any up here? I don't think I missed any. There's one hiding over there. Monray Siebert just gave a super chat. These are living trees. So, well, I got half of them almost. It's probably hard to see on your little screens. What am I missing? There's one. There's one. There's one. 32 out of 50. They're hiding in the corners here. Gotta look on the sides really closely. Okay. Come on, I've got to be missing some. I got 36 out of 50. There's one. Just hiding over there on me. There's one. There's one. 39 out of 50. There's another one. Already got that one. One hiding over there. Didn't see him initially. There's one. Oh, already got that one. There's one. 41 out of 50. Getting close. How many more we got? There's one hiding under the table there. A little bugger. I'm missing some. If you're pointing them out to me, guys, I'm not reading your chat, so I can't see your chat. Tell me where to find them. I'm scanning everything here. There's one hiding down there. Come on. There's some missing on me here. Is that one? Yeah, there's one. Okay. Got one there. One there. There's living Christmas trees. I got 44 out of 50. Must be missing a few here. Obviously. I don't see them. Where are you hiding at, you little buggers? Huh. All right, we're going to give it up here in a second. I'm almost done with this. Got 44 out of 50. That's not bad. All right, we're going to give it up there. All right. 44 out of 50. Not bad. Not bad. Well, President Biden has signed 50 new laws on Christmas Eve. Seriously, 50 new laws? Unbelievable. So, 50 bills became law. Some really stupid. Native American Child Protection Act. Congressional Gold Medal given to Everett Alvarez, a Vietnam veteran. Why are you giving him a civilian award? Give him a military award. Salt River Project, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Park. Mountain. Rolf Corver just gave us a super chat helping us get to our total. Thank you, Rolf. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for that, Rolf. 35 Rand super chat. First Responders Equipment, Shasta Trinity Marina Fees, Paperwork Burden Reduction Act, Employer Reporting Improvement Act, Great Salt Lake Stewardship Act, the Drought Preparedness Act, DHS Border Service Contractors, eliminating useless reports. How about eliminating useless presence? Stop campus hazing, water data, Fort McHenry. They've renamed the visitor center the Paul Sarbanes Visitor Center for the disgusting Democratic member of the Senate from Maryland. And the list goes on and on. More and more legislation, more and more oppression of our freedom, more and more theft of our liberty. Unbelievable. Look at all these laws passed and signed by Joe Biden, presented to him by Congress on Christmas Eve. So what is our gift from the government? More oppression, more theft of liberty, more laws to oppress us. Yep. Well, Doge will take on the Pentagon, something I've been arguing about for years. I could reduce the Pentagon's budget from $900 billion to about $550 billion almost overnight, keeping our defense capabilities. Guarantee it. And I bet you they could do the same. Yep. $895 billion budget is getting looked at. After the Pentagon failed its 7th consecutive annual audit earlier this year, the Department of Defense's ballooning budget is facing renewed scrutiny among Washington lawmakers, including the Doge boys. And it's almost time to do the call-in session, folks. I've just got one more report to do here, and I'm going to read this one to you. This is kind of a sad statement about Christmas. Then I'm going to take the call-in, okay? So we got 11 of the 30 super chats. I'm going to read this op-ed, and then I'm going to do a call-in session. We'll open up a Zoom session, okay? So this is the op-ed here, okay? Let me just show you that, and I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to read it so you don't have to see it on the screen. This is from Tablet, and it's from Itzu Diaz. He says, Europe is canceling Christmas. Christmas is a holiday of peace and goodwill. Families come together. Angry friends forgive each other. Everyone celebrates with a combination of happiness, champagne, and melancholy. And all those things we see in Frank Capra movies. It's difficult for anyone of any religion or even agnostic to be offended by this celebration. But what I find puzzling is that celebrating the holiday with lights and Christmas motives is now becoming frowned upon, not as one might expect in Karachi or Mogadishu, but in the heart of old Europe. The gradual cancellation of Christmas in countries such as France, Spain, the United Kingdom, or Germany is perhaps the most worrying symptom of the West's renunciation of its Judeo-Christian cultural identity. It is happening at all levels, from governments and city councils to schools and associations. As ever, it's the secularist of the socialist left behind the facade of inclusivity, who are the most determined to cancel Christmas, which for centuries has been celebrated in style throughout the continent. Indeed, it has been celebrated as a festivity of the union, not segregation between different peoples. What Ronald Reagan explained simply and in his own unique way, that Christmas is a holiday that we celebrate not as individuals, nor as a nation, but as a human family, now appears entirely incomprehensible. Let's look at some examples of what is happening in Europe. In November, the head of teacher of Werrell Primary School in Andover informed parents that there would be no reference to Christmas in the school's traditional festive pantomime in order to be inclusive. Since Christmas songs were included in the performance, and some parents usually prevent their children from attending on religious grounds, this teacher wrote, "We have requested the show contain no reference to Christmas." According to a 2021 census, 62.4% of Andover's then 50,887 residents identified as Christian, compared with 0.6% who identified as Muslim. The trend of canceling Christmas in European schools didn't start this year. It simply spreads from one December to the next like an oil slick at sea. The first major controversy occurred in 2011 when kindergartens and schools in Denmark canceled their traditional Christmas celebrations so as not to offend Muslims, who are already the second largest religion in the country and who are densely concentrated in ghettos and large cities. France, the European country with the most immigrants of Arab origin, has also been de-Christianizing Christmas for years. After the jihadist attack against a Christmas market in Strasbourg in 2018, far from redoubling the defense of freedom and pride in their Christian traditions, political leaders intensified their secularist drift. And this year, there are already a majority of French cities where authorities have decided to eliminate Christian reference in Christmas celebrations. sometimes going to ridiculous extremes. Nantes is now celebrating its winter journey, whatever that means. Angers is observing winter suns. Bordeaux is touting Bordeaux in festivities. And St. Denis is holding a Christmas vacation called Destination Beautiful Winter, while its mayor celebrates the holiday by shouting Happy Winter. The official festive brochure of the French community includes puppets, fire eaters, craft workshops for children, and no iconic Christian Christmas imagery. The main problem of the West's cultural and identity decadence lies not so much in external aggressors as in internal betrayals and renunciations. In France, the madness is best captured, ironically, by a French Muslim delivery man in a video that went viral. In it, he relayed how, on one of his deliveries this year, he noticed that Christmas decorations and nativity scenes were absent at a town hall in the countryside. The mayor told him the state had sent out instructions that there should be no decorations in city halls, which the Muslim man found scandalous. Our friends, the Christians, our brothers, they are in a Christian country. Yes, la cité, fine. But no, they have the right to decorate their town hall for their holiday. Mangers don't bother me. Politicians, you are going to kill France. You are going to kill Christians. It's crazy, exclaimed the Muslim. In Spain, things are not much better, perhaps because, as they are, fish always rots from the head. The Prime Minister received a lot of criticism this year for his supposed Christmas greeting. Here's to a new year full of health, hope, and prosperity, happy holidays, in which he expressly avoided congratulating Christians on Christmas. While a few months ago he had no qualms about congratulating Muslims by expressly referencing Ramadan, also several municipalities governed by extreme left mayors have limited to a minimum Christian decorations in the streets and removed from their festive programs anything that might sound minimally Christian. Paradoxically, despite the Spanish socialist government's attempts to turn off Christmas, private life, as so often happens, marches to the beat of its own drum. So-called company Christmas dinners, gatherings where people celebrate such an important date with their work colleagues and which often end in the wee hours of the morning, are becoming more and more popular and bigger, though not without risk. As Phyllis Diller remarked, what I don't like about office Christmas parties is looking for a job the next day. These examples of Christmas cancellation in Spain, France, UK, or Denmark can similarly be found in Belgium, Germany, Sweden, and many other European countries. None of this could happen without the European left and social democrats. The same parties that have promoted mass immigration have now pioneered a strange paradox, promoting secularism to expel Christianity from all institutions, starting with the classrooms, and at the same time attending the constant request of Muslim communities to promote Islamic teachings and traditions, again, especially in their schools. The main problem with mass Muslim immigration in the West is their very low rate of assimilation in the host cultures. But what's more dangerous is that native leaders are so determined to deny their own identity and their Judeo-Christian cultural heritage, which should only be a source of pride and not the burden that seems to weigh them down. For years, many private organizations have often been joining the cultural change. Despite the fact that Christmas season is the most important one of the year for large retailers, many leading European brands have been replacing in their stories any minimally Christmas reference with an amalgam of lights, random messages, hope, love, happiness, and mountains of snow in the decoration, since cold and winter have always been the favorite alternative for those who wish to remove themselves from any religious association for fear of a possible boycott by radical groups. All this leads us to conclude that the main problem of the West's cultural and identity decadence lies not so much in external aggressors as in internal betrayals and renunciations. To the end, I will remain a child of Europe, of worry and of shame. I have no message of hope to deliver, wrote Michael Houellebecq in Platform. For the West, I do not feel hatred. At most, I feel great contempt. I know only that every single one of us reeks of selfishness, masochism, and death. We have created a system in which it has simply become impossible to live, and what's more, we continue to export it. Yeah, right. To restore its confidence and sense of self, the West, and what was that? That was a super chat from Arctic. Thank you, Arctic. 10 Rand. Thank you for that second chat. Each one of its sovereign nations should look at the way Jews care for, respect, and take pride in their nation, their history, their religion, and their traditions. Contrast Europe's cultural clashes with the peaceful, mutually enriching cultural coexistence offered by the Jewish experience in the United States. It's no accident that some of the most beautiful... Thank you, Arctic, for another super chat. 10 Rand. It's no accident that some of the most beautiful and melancholy Christmas songs have come from Jewish composers and lyricists such as Irving Berlin, Mel Torme, Bob Wells, Felix Bernard, Jay Livingston, Ralph Blaine, and Johnny Marks. No Christian would expect those songs to be a loudspeaker for religious beliefs they do not share. Still, these songwriters, immigrants or sons of immigrants desperately eager to assimilate in America and to express their love for it and for its customs, were able to help us all celebrate Christmas and the traditions that we associate with its celebration, including the importance of bringing family. And Arctic goes with another 10 minutes, trying to get that single-handedly to the 30 super chats. we're able to celebrate Christmas and the traditions we all associate with celebration, including the importance of bringing family together, paying more attention to the disadvantaged, trying to recover lost friendships, or missing our elders, the ancestors who can no longer sit at the table with us on Christmas Eve, and to whom we owe everything we are, including what we actually are culturally. Religious beliefs are integral to who we are as human beings. And in a healthy society, harmonious coexistence and mutual respect between people of different religions of their respective holidays should be the norm. The capitulation that so many European leaders are spearheading will only embolden radicals and forestall migrant assimilation. And when they come to demand more, the dissolved identity of our people will no longer have the strength to stand up and claim space of freedom to celebrate the traditions of our own Judeo-Christian heritage. It will then be too late. There you go. All right, it's time now to do the call-in. All right, my mom received about 15 WhatsApps. That's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that, Neville. Carolyn, I have to go. Enjoy the rest of your day. One more dumb comment. Okay. 11. Happy birthday. Thank you, Teeny. Thank you for that super chat. That's 12. Charles Van Alton comes with 114. All the little tiny super chats are coming in. Thank you for them, guys. Charles, thank you for that. All right, I'm going to turn off the camera and start my Zoom session. You ready for that, folks? I need to get my earpiece so that we can have a conversation. Anybody wants to call in, we'll be able to call in. And we'll see how it goes, okay? All right, so let's get the earpiece up here, and we'll spend the next 49 minutes enjoying each other's company if you wish to call in, okay? And then it'll be off to Ronaldo. So let me just take myself off camera there because I need the camera back, otherwise Zoom won't work. So here we go. We'll start the Zoom session. Start it now. Okay, I need to get rid of that. I've got myself with a French rugby thing in the background. No, Japan's rugby thing. I need to fix that really quickly. Is the microphone the correct one? It is the correct one. Okay, adjust background. Give me a second, folks. I'll be with you in just a moment here. Trying to find a good background here. Actually, I don't need any background. We'll go with none because it's Christmas. None. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm going to record this portion. Record on this computer. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right. Oh, I need to create a new one while I'm at it. Sorry, just a second. Let me get the Zoom up. Where's Zoom? There's Zoom. Okay, Zoom is not coming up. What's going on here? There it is. Okay, that was weird. Okay, so there's Zoom. All right, so, all right. I need to set up another one for Ronaldo. Sorry about that, folks. I just remembered that schedule a meeting. Okay, 12 o'clock. Do that one there for Ronaldo, 12 to 1. Okay, save. And then I need to get the... I don't need that. Okay, I need to go back to here. And there we go. Copy invitation. Send that to Ronaldo. Okay, there we go. All right, cool beans. Got that taken care of. Now we're good. Okay, so I'm going to share the link if anybody wants to call in. Where's the damn link at in this thing? They keep changing this. Okay, I know how to get to it an easier way here. Okay. Copy invitation. All right. Okay, so if you'd like to call in, folks, you'll be able to do that now. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Here's the link. Paste. Oh, is it too long? Oh, come on. Seriously? That's not right. Hang on a second. Man. Okay, I got to do it this way because YouTube. Hang on. Nothing's ever easy, is it? All right. Here we go. There we go. That's the one. Okay. Copy. All right, this should get people in. Paste. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so there's a new one up there now to replace the pin message, okay? All right, so if you want to call in, folks, you should be able to call in now. I don't know why it keeps giving that menu up like that. That's kind of annoying why it's doing that. Okay, so I don't know why it doesn't go away. Anyway, so if anyone would like to call in, the window is open. If not, you don't have to. We'll just keep chatting. But I did want to get to this stage of the program. So there you go. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for the super chats. They're coming. Got a dozen super chats so far. Thank you for that. I will chat you in your next visit. So thank you, George. Appreciate that. All right. Youngest daughter is married to an Indian whose father is a Muslim, the only Muslim in the family, and they all celebrate Christmas. All right. Interesting. Interesting. There's Ants. Okay, let's see if we get Ants in here. Welcome folks in. You can call in, see how that goes. I don't like what Zoom has done to this. It used to be you could just move away from the window and it would stop leaving that menu up there. Nobody wants to see that menu. And all I can do is end this thing. It's really weird. I don't know why it does that. But they keep improving but making it worse, if you know what I mean. These people, these software engineers think they know what they're doing, always making things worse. Well, Ants, I see you on the screen, but I don't hear you or actually see you. It looks like you're connected. All right. What else we got here in the chat? Must we turn our PC sound off? It's best you have an earpiece there. There's Ants. It's best you turn the sound off, but then you may not be able to hear me if that's the only way you got it.
Just get my act together, Chris.
Okay, I can hear you now. It's fine. No echo or anything. Hey, Merry Christmas, Ants. Can you hear me?
Got no sound.
Yeah, that's because he turned the sound off on the thing. He needs to put an earpiece in. You need to put earpiece in. So, yeah, you need to put an earpiece in. So. Anyway.
Okay, no, I've got you. I've got you out the earpiece.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so folks, there's a pro tip. If you call in, you need to put an earpiece in there, because if you're listening to it, you'll get a reverb and it won't work properly. Yeah, put in a headset, and yeah, there you go. Charles is offering the device there. So I don't know what's going on to Ants. He's got this light flickering there, man. It looks like he's in a disco.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with the camera. But Chris, I'm not going to keep you long. I just want to wish you a happy birthday, Merry Christmas, and. You're complaining about no whales that you see in the Hermanus. Must come to PE. We've got lots of whales here, and you should take. I don't know if you've ever taken Raggy charters. They always take you out to sea, and they're quite regular with the whale visions, you know.
Okay. I don't want to pay to see whales. I just want to stand on the shore. But,
no, but we haven't got Somazamas here either, so it's safe. And you can hire Ronaldo's flat here on the beachfront.
He's trying to sell me on Port Elizabeth. I've been there. I haven't seen any whales in Port Elizabeth.
No, they're regular. They're regular.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for that, but I haven't seen any there. So.
Okay, then I'm going to leave you with the flashing, but I just want to know, one day you must please do a South African accent. You do the Canadian accent and all the accents, but you didn't do a South African one.
I can't do a South African one. There was a time 30 years ago I could do an Afrikaans accent, but I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do the South African accents.
Do it properly.
I can't do it. I've tried. It's just not there. It's just can't do it. I've talked about accents. My favorite accents in the English language. Number one is the Irish lilt. I love listening to the Irish speak. Number two, it's an Afrikaner speaking English. That's my second favorite English accent. And then as you go further down, you get to the Scottish accent, and then down at the bottom you'll find New Zealand and American accents. I find them the least appealing of all of them.
The Russian accent is quite unappealing as well.
Oh, no. But I mean, I'm talking about those who speak English, English-speaking nations. The exception there was the Afrikaners who aren't English-speaking, but they're forced to in self-defense speak English, so that's why I put them in there. So
I spent a month in Australia, and I found after a month I was starting to get a slight Aussie accent. It's you just drop your jaw and you start speaking a bit and you're speaking like an Australian.
It's true, and you start drinking that piss water known as Foster's. Crikey, mate. The Australians, they've got a harsh accent. That's a rough one, the Australian one. But
quite a bit, but New Zealand, I can tell the difference between New Zealand and Australian. I can tell the difference between American and Canadian. So I'm very proud of myself.
No, you're doing quite well. I mean, a lot. It's funny because what I always find fascinating is everywhere I go in Africa, people are always asking me if I'm English. English? Have you ever met anyone from England? Do I even sound remotely English? First off, then I usually what I do is look at this. See, these are proper teeth. Proper teeth. I'm not English.
When I was in America, quite a few people also asked me if I'm from England. A lot of people actually.
Yeah.
And then of course, the normal thing is, I'm now from South Africa. Why aren't you black? And I didn't know what to answer to that one.
Well, depending on where they come from, if I'd look at them and their origin, if they're white guys, I'd say, well, how come you're not, well, anyway, I get you. That's the problem. Well, people just don't know about places, We've had this conversation before about, people's ignorance around the world about this, that, and the other. And we always hear about the Americans who don't know anything, but I can go anywhere, and I can find lots of people without even trying that know nothing about their own place around them. Many who've never gone more than 50 kilometers from where they grew up their entire life. And people know nothing about the world, can't identify capitals, don't know mountain ranges, don't know oceans, don't know cultures. It's just the norm. I mean, it's a very human thing to be interested and curious about what's out there beyond who you are, beyond what you are, is kind of alien because, for millennia, humans had to stay in tight bands and defend themselves against raiders and wildlife and saber-toothed cats and things like that. And so you grow up with this innate suspicion of the other, and that's what kind of fuels some of the xenophobia that's out there. That's some of the darker aspects of our nature. Xenophobia and bigotry and racism is because it's the other. There's a fear of the other. And it's not unfounded. The other can be quite dangerous at times. People you don't know that you can't trust can be murderous thugs. They can be thieves, and so it's understandable. But, in our modern sense, people act as if these are just totally alien aspects of human behavior and they're reprehensible. Well, they are not alien. They're part of who we are. Hopefully they aren't abused. Anyway.
Now, Chris, I wonder though, with the advent of the internet, I mean, you visit me every day. I wonder the advent long term, 100 years from now, if we won't have sort of a universal accent of people that have interacted universally. For example, my last famous thing was before I lost my mobility is I went to see the Eagles, my favorite band in Cape Town. And I was battling like hell in the airport. And one of the colored ladies picked me up in a little big mobility scooter and she actually picked me out for trying to walk. She threatened me when I come back, she'll ride over me if I don't. She was quite a character. But I got on and there was a guy with long hair and wearing a sort of a half a suit, sort of a semi-suit. And he started speaking to me. He said to me, why have I come to Cape Town? But I was trying to nail down his accent. And really, it was sort of like a universal accent. That accent that you can't. There was a slight American, but there was a slight British as well. And I wonder. By the way, he was one of the roadies for the Eagles. He travels all over the world with the Eagles. But I just wonder if we won't all have that sort of like universal, or those that interact a lot, like we do, develop an accent unique within that sort of society.
Well, in fact, that's how we get American accents. We have a lot of different American accents. We have different accents throughout the South. I have a Midwestern accent, which is kind of neutral. It's not a twang. It's not a drawl. It's also not a high pitched nasally sort of thing we have like in Minnesota and places like that from the Scandinavian influence. But we have multiple accents in America, and the thing is that it's funny because I've told this story before. Many, many years ago, I returned from Germany. I went to Arizona to the Intelligence Officer Advanced course, and I was staying in the hotel, which is adjacent to the exchange, where we have shopping available for goods and services. I walked into the exchange. Of course, you have to show your identification card to enter the building because it's restricted to military and their family members who have the privileges because it's tax exempt. And the guy said, may I see your ID card? And I said, oh, you're from Glen Burnie. He said, how did you know that? Now, Glen Burnie is 2,600 miles the other direction in Maryland and very near where I grew up for part of my childhood. I said, well, because you spoke, and I recognized his accent. There are at least 6 or 7 distinct accents that I can identify based on people living in a less than 30-kilometer distance on one highway. Up and down this route, Governor Ritchie Highway in Maryland, which goes from Brooklyn on the bottom of Baltimore down to Annapolis, and I can identify multiple accents there, and it's interesting. And then in Baltimore, I can identify people who are from Dundalk. They have a very distinct accent, the way they talk. So yeah, there's a very real possibility that you'll get kind of like the Midwest accent, whatever that becomes, on a universal one for those who speak English, because of the interaction like this, because of people going to schools in different places, and international sort of environments. But the key with accents is that accents develop from the age of probably 1 or 2 until you're 6 or 7. So where you're at between 1 and 7 is what's going to determine what your accent is. That's why when you have Afrikaners whose families immigrate to New Zealand and the child is 1 or 2 years old, they have a Kiwi accent. If they come to America, they have an American accent. But if they get to New Zealand or America when the child's already 6 or 7, they're stuck with that accent that they grew up with beforehand. And the way that it develops is in social interactions, being around your parents with their accents, being around family members with a similar accent, going to church, and doing events like that. If that breaks down and people are taken away from those events, then we'll wind up with universal. But I think we'll always have these accents. The funny thing is some of these accents morph into things. So for instance, if you go to the maritime provinces of Canada, you pick up some really weird accents. You get some Scots accent that comes into there mixed with some French Canadian, and you get some really weird outcomes because these groups of people mixed and their offspring. And when you have intermarriage, that's when you get to really weird accents. When you get a Scots married to an Afrikaner, then the kid's going to speak an unintelligible accent at the end.
But like if you take your accent, you take Brett Sessom's accent, it's completely different. I mean, he's very southern, and you can pick it up straight away. But South Africa typically thinks Brett's accent is the American accent more so than yours. You know, that's sort of like what we use on our advertisements and so on. Just that B. Wells guy, what's his first name again?
Who's that? John B. Wells?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if you know this. He did
Lexington. Yeah, I know. He did Lexington. He's your Marlboro man. That's who he is.
He was brilliant on the Lexington ad. I mean, it was iconic in South Africa with his after action satisfaction and that deep voice, you know. But anyway, okay, Chris, I'm not going to keep you. I'll leave you. It's almost time for Ronaldo anyway. But thanks for all your effort you do. I do live alone with 2 Jack Russells, so you are part of my family, and your efforts make a hell of a difference to me. I'm here every day, even when I'm not commenting and I'm making supper, I'm watching you on the TV, dying to comment. Sometimes I even bother to get off my bloody scooter and come and sit here with pain to say something. But thank you very much for all your efforts. It's appreciated totally by me.
You're very welcome, Ants. And this is the reason I do this on Christmas Day. We joke around about the super chats, which have dried up. We joke around about those, but no, it's this is why I do it. Not everybody has family, so I try to create kind of a family environment for people to come here. I understand that Courtney's going to call in shortly. Other folks are welcome to call in and say hello. You can call in while Ants is on the channel. We can have more than one person here, but Ants is about to leave, so don't leave me hanging, folks. We still got 35 minutes for call in on this Christmas Day, so you're welcome to call in. Ants, I'm sorry, I was going to say Merry Christmas to you. Thanks a lot for your viewership, your patronage, also coming to the meet and greets in PE. I really appreciate it. It's kind of special for me. I mean, honestly, I have no reason whatsoever to go to PE except to meet with you guys. That's it. It's the only reason I come to PE. There's no gold, there's no diamonds, there's no oil, there's no damn good-looking Boermeisie there. So, I mean, there's no reason for me to come to PE except to meet with you guys, and I really enjoy it.
We've had quite a few Miss South Africans from Port Elizabeth, eh?
Well, yeah, they're from the posh rich families. I don't get to associate with the hoi polloi. I just get to hang out with the Boermeisie.
I have a problem when you come because I've got to get somebody to come and pick me up in the wheelchair and take you down. The last meet and greet, I was so disgusted because somebody dropped me almost at the last minute. And I couldn't find anybody to come and pick me up. I live very central on the way too, sort of like I don't know if you know William Moffat Road, but I've lived just a retirement village just off William Moffat.
Okay.
So, but the guy dropped me. So, and I don't know, the common question, well, why do you want to meet him? You know, he's from America, that sort of thing, and that really makes me the head in when they say that kind of thing, you know, because I mean, you, as I say, you're part of my life every day.
Yeah, I know. I've not heard that, but I mean, I suppose people ask you that question. But you know, whatever. I mean, why would you want to meet anybody? It's your personal business, you know. I mean, what the hell? I mean, you know, remember that first trip? I did 17 meet and greets in 30 days. It was exhausting. You know, why would I do that? I mean, I wasn't doing it for money. I wasn't doing it for fame. I did it, you know, because people were loyally watched my program and became part of, I don't want to say a movement, but, you know, or a family, but something in between a movement and a family. And so I also enjoyed it, meeting people, but it was exhausting. I still do lots of meet and greets, but I've toned them down a bit because, you know, I mean, when I go to meet and greet, I'm the only person there. It's not a lot of fun.
It's terrible when they drop you like that, but that's a human race. So.
Yeah, it happens. Anyway, but thanks a lot. Yeah, no, I mean, I have to come to PE now because, you know, if I don't come to PE, then Ronaldo has to stand on a street corner with a tin cup begging for money, and I really hate to see that. You know, the poor fellow really needs all the moral support he can get now. So.
Yeah, well, Chris, I'm going to drop off. I don't have much else to say, and I'm going to go back to your normal stream and enjoy it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll be at the top of the next hour over on Wednesdays with the Colonel with Ronaldo. So we'll see you there as well, hopefully.
Thanks.
All right, Ants. Merry Christmas. God bless.
God bless.
All right, folks, that's Ants from PE, Port Elizabeth. You're welcome to call in. The link is at the top. If you missed the link, I'll put it in again. Okay, well, that's frozen. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Paste. There we go. YouTube is acting weird here. It's acting very weird, so I'm going to have to close that and open up another link. Hang on a second here. Very strange YouTube. Etienne Roddy's back. Welcome to you. Good to see you there. Merry Christmas to you and all that you care for, friends and family. Anyone wants to call in, there's the link. You can try it out. Obviously, it works because Ant's called in. Charles says, I have had to make a plan to meet and greet Chris twice now. Fortunately, my ex-work buddy has helped me out. Yeah, but Ants, we had a good time at that restaurant there in Amazimtoti, but I think we had a better time at Hollywood Bets. Wasn't that awesome? That was a really good time. It was a really good time. Yeah, and that was a busy day for me. I was in PE, then I found myself all the way over in Durban that day and driving down, and then checking in a hotel. And there's a super chat from Miss Pumbaa, 99 Rand. Ho ho! Miss Pumbaa, thank you so much. We finally got to go in there. We were stuck. That's 13 though. Ooh, the unlucky 13. We're gonna need another super chat to get past that. Nobody has a good reason to visit PE, says Hardik, now that 2 out of 3 of the strip clubs have closed. Really? Dang. I mean, that sucks, man. There's only one place for me to go next time I'm in PE. Charles Van Altsland's accent is accentuated with Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey. All right. Very lucky and grateful for all the rain, says CB. Okay. Strange that they closed after Southern Express, Mango, and Comair don't have pilots staying at PE anymore. Yeah, there you go. Courtney McBride, $1.99 super chat. And Arctic with another $9.99. Arctic, I think there's like 6 super chats, including a big one from Arctic. The first one was 1,000 Rand. Now he's taking it down to 1% of that. There it comes again. Yeah, so he's going at 1% of what he's originally super chatting there. That's pretty funny. All right, what's this? Dismiss that. Okay. Very lucky and grateful for all the rain. Okay. I have had to make a plan to meet. Oh, I already read that. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, Courtney and Etienne Ronnie. Welcome back to you. Yep, and it's not great. Huh? Zoom telling me to update now. Oh, geez, Charles. Zoom, you got to love it. Yeah, well, they updated. Look at this. Now you can see all my admin stuff on. I don't like that. That should not be seeable. No one should see that. That's just ridiculous. Let me go back to the window for Zoom, So I don't know why it does this. These windows should just disappear. View. Shouldn't have that. There's nothing for me to set there. So you can't see it. I'm actually messing with the menu. All right, back to this. That's what I want, okay? I think it must be more than 10. Oh, yeah, you got to have $5 equivalent. So $5 is going to be about 100 Rand. If you do 100 Rand, then it counts. If you do anything less than 100 Rand, it doesn't count towards the total. Sorry, guys, it should say that, but I guess it doesn't say that on the goal. Yeah, the goal is 30, and you've got to do 5 in order for it to ring the bell, so to speak. Anyway, yeah, so Christmas. How y'all doing? Wow. So we've been at this for an hour and a half. Yeah, New Year's coming up, and Chris can count on what? So there's Courtney. All right, cool beans. We'll let Courtney in, so we get second caller in here. Ants was the first. Thanks for not leaving me hanging, Ants. Oh, that's a nice photo of Courtney. Check that out, man. He's got that Irish gangster cap on there. Dylan is melting. There's Courtney. Hey, there he is. Hey, Courtney.
Hey, happy birthday and Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you very much. Now, there's a cool accent. That's kind of a Midwestern accent. I think Courtney could be a news announcer there. You can just go ahead, tell us about the weather tonight.
It's pure Northern California, my native land. So
yeah, which is kind of like a Midwest accent. It's interesting. The Northern California accent is very much like Ohio, Indiana. I'm guessing probably because a lot of people from the Midwest actually settled in Northern California. Maybe that's why it developed that way. Who knows?
Well, interestingly enough, Southern California was settled mostly by Confederate veterans, and Northern California was by Union veterans, which might explain why up until about 25 years ago, Southern California was far more conservative than Northern California, but that's not really the case anymore.
But you are now relocated in the beautiful state, the Beehive state of Utah.
Yes, Utah is my home. I will live here till I die. This is a great place.
Oh, it's amazing. I absolutely love Utah. I can't get enough of it. I've been there many times, but not recently, unfortunately. Of course, you've been trying to get me to come out to a game, and it just hasn't worked out. I'll look at it again this year to come out for a game, but I might just come out, even without the game, to do some research for genealogy, because it's been a while since I've been to the Family History Library. For the viewers who don't know, Salt Lake City, Utah is the home of the Latter-day Saints Church, who put a lot of interest in family origins genealogy, and so they have the best genealogical resources of any organization on the planet, including a family history library full of tens of thousands of I don't want to say unpublished, but thin circulation or unpublished family histories that people have donated or they've acquired over the centuries. It's fantastic. Not to mention their microfilm collection is probably one of the best in the world. So Courtney, you also got great skiing out there. The powder is amazing. What do you like about Utah? What's so cool about it for you?
I like being so close to the mountains. I'm about 20 minutes away from Big Cottonwood Canyon, where ski resorts are, and I can go hiking and mountain biking in the summer up in the alpine forest. Just surrounded by nature. Then we have the desert just to the west of Salt Lake.
Well, I should look and see. I should look and see if Vail has any resorts there, because I have an epic season ski pass for all the Vail resorts. So if there's one there, that's another excuse for me. Well, there's an excuse for me to come out, because this, by the way, I paid, I think $150 for a military pass for all the Vail resorts worldwide. And I just checked yesterday, the local ski resort, which was independent but bought by Vail a couple years ago, $117 for 1 day for a ski lift pass. This card in 2 days will have paid for itself in less than 2 days for a whole season. I could ski every single day.
I think the Epic Ski Pass will get you into the Park City resorts, which is where a lot of the jet set people with private jets and
the hoi polloi
live in Switzerland or Argentina or places like that fly all over the world. That's where they ski. So
all right, well, I can pretend to be one of those jet set Swiss, Yeah, I can speak some German for them.
Yeah,
German, Swiss Deutsch. Yeah, Swiss Deutsch. Yeah. So how's the Navy Reserve thing going? I mean, you still enjoying your time in the Navy Reserve?
Oh, I'm loving it. Been in almost 12 years now, and I'm going to be going to Japan in February for 5 weeks. So
sweet. Do you know where?
Yokosuka Naval Base.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time on a couple Marine bases there and one naval base while I was in Japan for the World Cup, which helped keep the cost down, because it was god awful expensive to go to Japan at the time. It was, when in 2019, it was bloody expensive. But it's an amazing place. I don't know if you've been to Japan before, but I absolutely love it. The only problem with Japan is that there's people everywhere. There's no privacy. I mean, everywhere you turn, there's people, and that's kind of, it's nice to visit, but I couldn't live there long term. It would drive me nuts. I need the mountains. I need a bit of solitude every now and then. I need to be able to go out hiking, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I've never been there before. It'll be a first time for me, and we'll see. Well, I've always wanted to go there. I don't like crowds very much, but I guess I can tolerate them for a few weeks. So.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think you'll find it fascinating. The Japanese are amazing. Now, just a word of advice. You may have heard me say this in the program before. I had always grown up about Japan understanding that Japanese speak English. No, they don't. Maybe 10% of Japanese speak any English to any degree, and maybe 5% or less speak it well enough you can actually have a conversation with them. Even in Yokohama, which is an international city full of expats, it was difficult to find people who spoke English that were Japanese. But there are some out there. But just be prepared for that. Language could be a challenge now and then.
Yeah, no, I expect it will be. I'll have a plan where to go when I go into Tokyo, and rely very little on other people, I think. So, but yeah, I would love to have you come out to Utah. I'll be traveling a little bit this next year, but if you're here when I'm here, we can get together. There's a German deli in downtown Salt Lake.
Okay.
Temple Square is being completely renovated. I think I mentioned that to you.
You did.
They should be done with it by 2027 or 26, actually 26. They're basically retrofitting or seismically retrofitting the temple, and that's pure granite. So to dig under that and add an isolation base is taking quite a long time to do. So.
I can imagine. It's interesting that they're going to dig through the granite. I guess they're really concerned about earthquakes if they're going to do that.
Yeah, well, actually, at the beginning of COVID, there was an earthquake here, and the Angel Moroni on top, its trumpet fell out and hit the ground. So
Fascinating. You know, when you go around DC, like a lot of people don't know this. I mean, people in DC know this, but when you go to DC and you travel on the Beltway from the northeast corner from Greenbelt, Maryland, and you're traveling around the north, you'll get to a point where you come across a rise, and off the distance over the trees, you'll see out of nowhere a tall spire and a golden angel of Moroni with the horn, because one of the largest Mormon LDS buildings is actually right in DC. It's huge, and a lot of people don't know it's there, but you see it, and if you know what it is, you can identify it. Otherwise, like, what the heck is going on? What's that?
Yeah, so it's one of the biggest temples, I think, and I think they have temples in. I know they have one in Cape Town. I think they have one in Durban now also. I'm no longer practicing Latter-day Saint, so I don't know too much about the growth of the church in the last few years, but
it's still growing, and for years, a long time ago, there's a lot of bigotry against LDS, accusing them of being, white exclusive and stuff like that, which is total nonsense. It's a faith that's spread its wings all over the world. I mean, there are stakes in all over Africa, getting people to prophesizing, joining the church. It's fascinating. The growth in LDS has been largely not non-white in the past decade or so, especially people in Africa and also some in Asia and Latin America who've been becoming Latter-day Saints. It's fascinating. When I was in high school, I got a extra credit project for a world religions class that we had in a public school. Former Catholic priest who was my one of my social studies teachers, he allowed me to get folks in extra credit. So I called in all these different religious organizations, and the Hare Krishna came in. That was interesting. But we got the LDS to come in, and they were more than happy to come in and talk about their faith and introduce the Book of Mormon. And for a long time, I had my own copy of the Book of Mormon. I don't know where it's at now. I read through it. It's fascinating. Interesting group of people who've been demonized and attacked by many people, especially other Christians. And people should be ashamed of themselves. Let people practice their faith. They're not harming anybody. And they might be right and you might be wrong. So get over it.
Yeah, well, a lot of the whiteness around Mormonism, it was actually very racist right up until the 1970s. And then they began changing a lot of that. And now, the majority of the growth is people of color from Latin America, West Africa, the Philippines. So it's becoming a very non-white church very quickly.
Very, very much the case. It's like Christianity. I mean, the biggest growth is in Africa. It's the world's fastest growing religion, and it's spreading all over Africa and even into Asia. I mean, I showed those photos earlier of, Christian churches in India. And of course, the Philippines has long been Christian, but there's a lot of places where the faith is growing. It's interesting because I'm not a deep, devout sort of person who practices my faith openly, that sort of thing. But I mean, I respect and tolerate others, and I think that everyone should do that. As long as people's faith doesn't harm others, you should leave them be.
Yeah, I've become a lot less hostile toward religion as I've gotten older. Although I'm not religious, I've adopted kind of a live and let live.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy. I mean, I think it's a good philosophy in pretty much anything, as long as it's someone's not harming others. It's we're talking about female genital mutilation, then I'll jump in. But it's otherwise, some of these practices. I mean, the people who practice cotillion, that's your thing. In the Southwest, you want to do cotillion for your 16-year-old daughter and coming out of age, that's your prerogative. No interest from me, and I have nothing against it.
Gender affirmation for youth, which I think is completely appalling.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. That's harmful, and that's something where we definitely going to speak out. Speaking of that, President Trump said very clearly, he said day one, executive order stopping all the efforts in the federal government at this transgender, as he called it, lunacy. And so all this tolerance of transgenderism in the Department of Defense is going to be stricken, and that's going to be quite chaotic because we've got Air Force Lieutenant Colonels walking around wearing skirts now, with still having their Adam's apple, not having undergone any sexual reassignment surgery, and airmen getting in trouble, getting threatened with Article 15s, that's non-judicial punishment for the audience, with Article 15s for not addressing the now dressed as a female lieutenant colonel who last week was a male. It's very confusing, and it's very disruptive to good order and conduct in the military. So I don't know what's going to happen. When Trump does this, there's going to be some separations, probably, would be my guess.
I hope so. The command chief of my command is pretty woke, and not a very good leader either. So I'm hoping that person will be history come January 20th, but we'll see.
Well, my experience is that people who think that leadership is about, dividing people by, focusing on those sorts of issues is not a good leader to begin with. You know, it's like I talked about this before. In my time in the Army, I always got irritated whenever they picked the equal opportunity non-commissioned officer. They always went to someone who was black. And then eventually started doing occasionally Hispanic or Pacific Islander. I'm like, excuse me, equal opportunity applies to all of us. We're all responsible for it. Anyone who is a non-commissioned officer should be capable of performing that task. The fact that you pick someone who's black indicates your bigotry and your lack of understanding about equal opportunity. And boy, if you have that conversation with a senior officer, look, it's like in the 1980s, look, you're like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. That's the way it is, sir.
Well, interestingly enough, when I was active duty at my local reserve center, I took an assignment there for a couple years. I was the guy that was in charge of the diversity bulletin board in the hallway every month. So for March, it was I put a lot of things up for International Women's Day, for February, African American history, and so forth. And then when our new chief petty officer came on board, she released me from that assignment, from that task, because I would only assume because I'm a white male. So.
Yeah, no, it's the world is upside down. You know, it really is. We fought for a long time for people to be treated the same. We achieved that by and large, systemically anyway. At least the system was set up that people were treated by and large fairly. Just for it to all go backwards ever since Barack Obama became president, you know, this focus on dividing people based on race and gender and ethnicity. It's really, really sad. It's heartbreaking, but I don't stand for it. So maybe that doesn't make maybe that doesn't make me marketable in today's world, but I don't care. You know, if you do what's right, moral, and just all the time, you can't be wrong. And that's what I'm all about, what's right, moral, and just.
Well, I think, you know, diversity is fine. I mean, diversity is just the realistic world that we live in. But our strength is not diversity; it's unity in spite of diversity.
Exactly, and diversity to me is not one white, one black, one Jew, one Christian, one Muslim, one straight, one gay. Diversity to me is diversity of thought, diversity of experience. I mean, for instance, most people would have no idea that I grew up in the projects at part of my childhood. I lived in an all-black neighborhood, 300 families, 3 were white, or 400 families, something like that. I also grew up in rural Appalachia, where everyone in my high school was white. There were no black folks. Not because they were excluded, but because they weren't stupid enough to move to rural Appalachia where there were no damn jobs. You know, so I mean, but people make assumptions. You know, they make assumptions about, you know, when we started this channel a few years ago, all the trolls who came on and attacked me and called me a white supremacist and a Klan supporter with no evidence whatsoever, because they knew nothing about me, because they made an assumption based on my light complexion that I was this way or that way. People make an assumption about the beard. Maybe they think I'm a fur trapper or something like that, you know, or Santa Claus. And some people mistake me for Santa Claus. But the point is that people make assumptions, and you can make assumptions, but when you act on them or you discriminate based on them, that makes you wrong.
Well, I think we all have a story to tell. Like most people don't know, I was homeless about 20 years ago. For a good year of my life, I was living on the street. So, you know, that kind of informed a lot of who I am. And then I grew beyond that. I you know, found a job and then rented a room, and then slowly but surely built my life up to where I'm a homeowner and have a, you know, distinguished military career. So, you know, there's a lot of things in people's histories that makes them unique, and that adds to, I think, the human experience that diversity really is. You know, made stronger because of our different experiences, but ultimately putting aside our differences and coming together as one is what's going to make us, you know, invincible as a group, as a nation. So.
No, 100%. See, I mean, that's certainly formed part of who you are, particularly at that stage of your life. You were much younger and you were developing and becoming who you were. And it's unfortunate you were homeless. I don't know the circumstances, and you don't have to share them. But sometimes those things happen, you know, sometimes through no fault of the owner or the person involved, sometimes because of the fault. I mean, you get people involved in substance abuse and, you know, that sort of thing, or people coming out of broken homes, or people, I mean, I left for college at 17. I got out of a childhood that I did not like at all. And it was kind of an escape for me going to college. That's probably why I didn't focus on my studies that first year. But I have no regrets. I mean, the things I did that first year really formed part of who I am now. And I think it's made me a more complete person as a consequence of that. You know, just like some of the experiences I had in childhood. They either break you or they make you. And I think they help make who I am. So I'm sorry you went through that homeless period, but I'm so glad to see that you've come back. And also, Courtney, I remember when you first came on the program, oftentimes you're very combative in your responses back and forth, you know, in the chat, very strident.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Very strident. And a lot of people kept telling me to ban Courtney, block him, don't let him be on the channel. I'm like, no, let Courtney share his thoughts. You were never abusive to anybody. As long as you're not abusive, that's fine. And so I think a lot of people love you now, Courtney. They enjoy your comments. They like that you're here. Also, I think that a lot of viewers are grateful that you voted correctly this year.
I'm still not a right winger, but I know when it's time to do the right thing and I don't agree with a lot of Trump's policies, but I agree with enough of them where I was able to hold my nose and vote for him. But
well, I held my nose and voted for him in 2016. I really did. I'm a conservative, but I didn't believe he was an actual conservative. That's why I held my nose. If Trump behaved from 2015 till now, the way he's been behaving recently, take away the Greenland and the Panama thing. but if he behaved, look at his press conference. Very measured, very polite, very calm, answer people's questions, rational. If he behaved that way all the time, then, I think a lot more people would have come to his standard sooner. But to be fair, it doesn't matter what Trump does. He'll be painted wrong. Look at that Wall Street Journal article blaming Trump for student loan forgiveness being canceled by federal courts 6 months ago. He's not in the courts. Anyway, so, then Trump came along. Well, Trump had nothing to do with it. He's not even the president. Biden's the president. He tried to violate the law. So anyway, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day whose partner has student loan debt because we're talking about the student loan thing. And because I was talking about this thing being canceled. And this person's in the medical field and borrowed $300,000. And that's now with interest like $700,000 in debt for college. That's insane. Absolutely insane. I've got empathy for that. I don't have empathy for the people who take loans to buy iPods and pay for their spring break trips down to Fort Lauderdale. But I do have empathy for people who are trying to get a proper education and getting gouged by these schools. That's a lot of debt. That's crazy. $700,000.
Well, I'm different. I graduated with money in the bank because I had the GI Bill when I got my degree. So I actually got paid to go to class every day, as it were. I got a living stipend, and then they paid for my books, my tuition, and I actually lived pretty well when I was in college.
Well, I did something similar. I was in ROTC, so I got like $100 a month from ROTC, which is tax exempt, living allowance. I was in the National Guard, and typically we had a MU to 5 for the rest of the audience. That's when these are mutual unit training assemblies when you get paid for a full day for working 4 hours. So when you have a MU to 5, you get paid for Friday, Saturday twice, Sunday twice. You get paid for 5 days, so that's pretty good. And we had a lot of those almost every month because we were a very active combat arms unit. And so that helped. That was usually $150, $200 a month. And then I did get money from the Veterans Administration, but it was money that I put in plus a bonus. It wasn't the GI Bill. It was VEAP, Veterans Educational Assistance Program. So I did that. Between that and then the first year I worked as a disc jockey at a radio station. Second year, because I went back to school, finished 4-year degree in 2 years. I went back to school, and that second year I worked for United Parcel Service, which paid $9 an hour in 1988. $9 an hour in rural Appalachia. That's a king's ransom back then. It was pretty good. So I left college with a new car, a PC, and $3,000 in savings put into the bank. That's so that's from my time in college because I was frugal. But the new GI Bill, man, I'll tell you what, I'm considering going to graduate school because I'm eligible for that, and the housing allowance and everything. I thought about going to school in the UK or maybe in Germany. But anyway, so yeah, interesting stuff. So I'm glad. See, your life really, really turned around. You went from being a homeless person to somebody that's focused on achievement. Somebody that's focused on obviously savings and taking care of your responsibilities first. Was there a spark that changed it for you without getting too personal, Courtney? Was there something that happened? Was there just one day you're like, damn it, this sucks, I'm not doing this anymore? Or just an opportunity come along? Or was there a person in your life that helped you say, hey, pick yourself up?
Oh, it was a person in my life who put me in that situation, an engagement that fell through, and I was pretty broke at the end of it, morally and financially. But I basically sold my car that I was living in and bought a plane ticket to Boston and found a homeless shelter in Salem, Massachusetts, and then got a job raising money for John Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign. And then after he lost, I went to work at a department store, and slowly from there just began building my life up. Moved back to California, to Los Angeles. I was there about 6 years, and then that wasn't working out so well at the end. So I joined the Navy Reserve, and that was my way out of LA. So I went to boot camp, and then after boot camp, came to Utah. So
wow. It's I've never heard a story of John Kerry saving someone's life. I mean, he destroyed my he and his wife destroyed my Heinz stock by selling it off to the Brazilians.
he kind of, to me, he represented kind of the intellectual counterpart to George W. Bush. Although I think a lot of that was more just kind of his wanting to be a Brahmin Beacon Hill aristocrat more than being
the irony is, George Bush comes across as a bumpkin, but the guy is incredibly brilliant. I know because I wrote for him. I wrote Presidential Daily Briefs, and the questions that George Bush got back to me from his brief were, I mean, these are questions most people wouldn't ask, and they were very insightful. The thing about Bush, I didn't like his presidency and his compassionate conservative because it was BS. But what I did like about the Bush and his administration is that, Clinton, when he had Presidential Daily Briefs, he wanted to know what was happening now, what was affecting the polls. And I know that from people who used to write for him and briefers who I talked to. And it was frustrating for them because it was all response, react to everything. When Bush became president, they were coming to him with the same thing. And he's like, oh, stop. I mean, I can't do anything about that. It's happening right now. I want to know about things that are going to happen. Tell me about something that's going to happen 6 months from now or a year from now so we can plan for it and we can put resources in place to be ahead of it. And that was brilliant. That's what a leader does. I mean, I'm not a fan of George Walker Bush, but I got to respect that. And I only know that because I was inside the wire, so to speak. If I had been inside the wire, all I would have had was what the media said, his verbal fumbles and things like that. But he was an absolutely brilliant, insightful leader. It's just a shame that he's a part of the New World Order. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, I actually visited his library back in October when I was in Dallas. Pretty impressive library he has there.
Well, the one president who just continues to impress the more you learn about him over time, and that's Ronald Reagan. I mean, Reagan wrote so many letters and so many notes to people, and it's incredible. It's the ones that are available publicly, as you can see, really reveal insights into who he was and what he's all about. And of course, Reagan, as a young man, was politically left of center, and he came around and changed later on and became ultra conservative and really changed a lot of things. It's a shame that he lost the 76 nomination to Ford because I think that Reagan might have been able to beat Carter in that election. Ford was tainted with the Nixon administration. He was part of it, whereas Reagan was coming out of California and he was very popular. And when I think Jimmy Carter got elected because he wasn't the Nixon administration. That's why he got elected, and we had a terrible 4 years. Not all of it Jimmy Carter's fault, but certainly plenty of it was. When you pick Cyrus Vance to be your foreign secretary, you've got a problem.
Well, I remember when California was really Republican back in the 80s and 90s, and it was just such a far different place than what it is now. It had a thriving middle class. It was clean. It was basically like the middle of America. It was no different than the rest of the country.
Well, it was by and large a happy place. I lived in California. It was a happy place. People, generally speaking, were happy, and it was the golden state, and now it's a sour, unhappy, unpopular, overtaxed, and just destructive state. It's so sad to see it.
Yeah, it's really, just having memories of California. So 1996 is when Democrats took over the state legislature. And then I think it was the 2000 census, for the first time in basically since it had become a state, whites had become a minority there at that point. And then the whole culture changed, and not because of, racial demographics, but just I think the kind of woke left kind of really began at that time before it spread to the rest of the country. People were in positions of power where they were making things worse for other people, making it worse for the state, and the state just kind of declined since then. So basically, since the late 90s, it just took a downward trajectory where it's not even, I just feel so out of place whenever I've gone back. It's like I'm not super rich, I'm not dirt poor, but there's just no one else here that's middle class anymore. It's quite sad.
Well, and for a lot of reasons. If it's just too expensive to live in San Francisco and a decent neighborhood, in LA and a decent neighborhood, And there's so many issues that go on in the state, and there's so many backwards. I mean, I saw the video, I was going to play it, but not today, of these black girls who were shoplifting in a Walmart or something like that, or a Target. Then they went to some other place for shoplifting, and they're all caught on video, and they got arrested, and they're in the back of the cruiser because the cops run them down in the parking lot, and the girl goes, "It's a felony?" She goes, "Yeah, biatch, it's a felony. The law's changed." So, I mean, it's that sort of tolerance, that lawlessness is one of the problems that California's had. I mean, it's been going on for ages. So the worst district attorney in history in San Francisco, no doubt, has to be Kamala Harris. She destroyed that city. And then she was Attorney General of California, doing no better. So, but Courtney, I'm going to have to wrap it up because we're going to have to go over to Wednesdays with the Colonel. So I want to thank you and wish you a Merry Christmas. And I really do look forward to coming out to Utah at some point and linking up. And hopefully it'll be a time when our paths coincide. You're not elsewhere when I come there. But Merry Christmas to you, and congratulations on becoming successful in your life. It's always great to hear that people do well. You're very welcome.
The American dream. So.
It is. It's alive and well. It's difficult these days, but it's still alive and well for those who have the gumption, the ambition, the drive to do it. And that's what it takes. Anybody can succeed in our society. None of us are defined by our parents or by our grandparents or our origins. That has never been the case of America. You can come here. I mean, I'm looking at all these. I was watching shows last night, and all these people who are Lebanese Americans whose family came here a century ago, incredibly successful. I know all these West Africans from Ghana and from Cote d'Ivoire who came here in the early 90s, and a lot of them are very wealthy and very successful. But they've become part of America. They've become part of the kaleidoscope. They didn't sit on the outside and dictate to the country they came to. They accepted some norms and mores and values and contributed. And you're not defined by your past. So we make our own path, and I'm glad to see you're doing well in your path. Congratulations on all that over the past couple of decades, and a very Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Chris. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks a lot. Folks, that's Bye. Courtney from Utah. That's the Beehive State out there. Thanks a lot for that, Courtney. Thanks to Ants, and thanks for Courtney for calling in. For all of you who wanted to call in but didn't, well, thank you anyway. Appreciate that. So Reagan was a Democrat for many years and then became a Republican. True. Kamala Harris was financed by George Soros. I believe that's true. Savage Daughter says, Merry Christmas to Courtney. Courtney, Tony says, blessings. And thank you for sharing your story, says Ms. Pumba. Even I would like to wish Courtney a Merry Christmas, says Matthew Dixon. Wow, that's high praise coming from Matthew. Right, folks, it's 12 o'clock. It's time to go to Wednesdays with the Colonel over on Ronaldo's program, who's kindly broadcasting on Christmas Day. So, ho, 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 and a Merry Christmas to everyone as we celebrate the birth of the Christ child. And no, it doesn't matter what day of the year Jesus was born. This was the date that was selected by the Christian church at the time from Rome, or actually from the Byzantians. It's not Istanbul, but what it used to be called, Constantinople. Constantinople chose this date, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the day we go with. It doesn't matter what day, as long as we celebrate it. Merry Christmas to all of you, and hopefully I'll see many of you, if not all of you, over on Ronaldo's channel in just a moment. God bless to all, and to all a good night. And for those who didn't know, I got a haircut. I got a haircut. I drove by yesterday, and my barber was open on Tuesday, Christmas Eve, and so I got myself a haircut. And now where's the seam at? There it is, the seam. Okay. So, got myself a little haircut there. All right. Okay. We'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you over Ronaldo in just a moment. And that's going to do it for today. Cheers, everybody. God bless.